Hello viewers, welcome to Full Spinnaker Ahead. This is episode 32. In the last series, episode 31, 1, 2, 3 and 4, we dealt with a failed transmission and the travel down on the coast to Brisbane to solve that problem. So if you'd like to see that, see the last 4 episodes. In this episode we're full spinnaker ahead for home. Just ghosting along. We stop at Pittwater to pick up a really good crew member in Stewart Webb here. And basically we sail down the east coast to Lakes Entrance really quickly. We don't really stop. We have great weather window, see a lot of nice things and get to Lakes Entrance very quickly. So stay tuned for Furrow Full Spinnaker Ahead to home. The title Furrow Full Spinnaker Ahead is a creation of Cooter and Potter from their shearing days and basically means let's get going without any further ado. We start this adventure in Australia on the east coast to Brisbane is the major centre, and then within the Moreton Bay area with the north and south Stradbroke Islands and Moreton Island to the northern end of Russell Island, where we're anchored in what I call the short long way. We travel down the canals, which they basically are natural canals in between the low-lying islands. The better description is more a natural waterway amongst the low mangrove islands, and all the way down to Jumping Pin Bar, or past Jumping Pin Bar, which is the entrance between North and South Stradbroke Island. And here we're just starting on the start of the Broadwater, where the water sort of opens up to the Gold Coast. All these different craft. This is a water cleaner, I think. If you know, let me know. I was trying to find out from the council, but I couldn't get hold of them. All the beautiful houses along the Broadwater shore, up around north of Paradise Point and all those places. A lot of wealth and a lot of estates with canals running through them, so they've all got like a waterfront boat parking area. I had my boat here in one time and at Coomera Boat Works, and there was a boat in front of a double-storey house there, and the boat dwarfed the house. Anyway, further down now to the Gold Coast, and we start getting into the high-rise areas. Runaway Bay, Labrador. Always lots of watercraft of all different types. There's a new style of thing called a jet boat. They've got them up in Early Beach too. They just do donuts and they're really highly powered things. You'll see one up here in a minute. There it is, the jet boat. Fast and manoeuvrable. I think this is a party boat, that's what I guess. I think it's a party boat. There was a fair bit of music coming out of it. A pay-on party boat like they have in Sydney. There's lots of them in Sydney Harbour. Now coming around to what I call Bum's Corner. I think we're going to get hit by a storm. It's building. There's a fair bit going on. So anchored in Bum's Corner, or called the Marine Stadium, the next day we go out the Gold Coast Seaway, which is a really well formed bar crossing, and then we head south. Just gone across the Gold Coast Seaway bar. From here it looks dead flat and we shouldn't have any trouble. Always get a bit nervous when I'm doing this, but I don't think there's any reason to be nervous with this one today. It looks flat from here. So we'll see what it's like when we get into it closer a bit. The Gold Coast Seaway here is not busy at all, but sometimes you have to watch out for surfers and all sorts of craft to navigate this water. The engines have been running well since we left Russell Island, and got confidence in them now to get us through. This is the Gold Coast Sand Bypass Jetty that pumps sand from Tweed Heads and redirects it onto the Gold Coast beaches. This was done as a solution to the newly formed Tweed River training arm extensions, disrupting the flow of sand up the coast and depleting the Gold Coast beaches of sand. Just getting in a couple of little 15 to 20 minute kips just to build up the reserves for later on. Good strong downwind. They had a wind warning up before, a strong wind warning for up to 30 knots. Offshore, which is a little bit further out than where I am. I'm about 5 mile out. But we're doing probably averaging 8. Sometimes it gets up to 10.5, goes back down to 5.5, 6, something like that, and sits on 8 and 9 a lot. You just don't get the appreciation of the sea when you look at it with a camera, but I'll give it a go anyway. So on the Beaufort scale, we've got about a 5. It's a 17 to 21 knot wind. It says that it's a fresh breeze. Moderate waves taking a more pronounced longer form. Many white horses are formed. Chance of some spray. So I reckon we're either at that or a bit less, which is Beaufort scale number 4, which just basically says less white horses than 5. The wind had strengthened and was coming from more behind, so we put the sail out on the port side and let it overhang the forestay, where it hung quite nicely without flapping. The iconic Coffs Harbour jetty, made out of wood, constructed in 1892 and was in commercial operation until 1992, but ceased its major operations in 1970. It had a railway line on top and a couple of cranes, all goods in and all goods out. So in June 2016, the northern breakwall, as you saw it there, was breached by a massive storm, and so they did an improvement on it, increased the width and the height, and put these handbars on top, which you see, these unusual concrete structures, to improve its integrity against another storm. Coffs Harbour from atop Mutton Bird Island. Toucan 2 parked in the back there under anchor. Holding is dubious and the constant swell is apparent. The only all-weather is inside the marina. Mutton Bird or shearwater holes on Mutton Bird Island. These little birds are the ones you commonly see when you're sailing, and they're in the boundary layer searching for fish, just gliding along effortlessly. He's really giving himself a coating, isn't he? Coffs Harbour at 4:30 in the morning. Got the anchor up with a new anchor winch. What a bliss that is. A metre a second roughly. Up and down the same speed both ways, which the other one never did. So it's like the man with a new toy. For Port Macquarie today. Had to get going a bit earlier. So just over 60 miles. As you can see, it's dark. We're following another boat out called Mr. Music, and we're hoping for a bit of a northerly, but it's a bit further off the coast, so I don't know how much we're going to get. It might be under the 2 Kubota 38 horsepower V1902 engines for the whole way. I never liked doing that, but I thought I was going to get a bit of a northerly and I'd just be able to poke along, maybe with just one motor going and a head sail out. But for the first hour we're doing 6.6 knots roughly. That's above our requirement, so get a few miles under the belt. Alright, well, hopefully we get to Port Macquarie. A south-east is going to kick in then. I don't think real strong, but just have to pan it out. There's a couple of places along the way. There's a place called Trial Bay, which is a good protection from the southeast, and then there's a place called, what's it called? No, Southwest Rocks, with a shallow bar out the front, but it'd have to be calm to go into there. So that's halfway. So there's some pretty good options there. Might have to use them. Alright, talk to you later. Yeah, just coming in a Port Macquarie bar. It's calm as, and that's how I like it. Got a sector light right in front of me, right about there somewhere. I'm on the white right now. Yeah, basically motored the whole way from Coffs Harbour. Had the sails up for a tinch, and that was it. Motors have been alright. Stopped about halfway or so to check my prop bolts, which had come loose yesterday, so I checked them, they were okay. And now I'm just going into Port Macquarie. We've got a bit of swell, but There's no breaking waves, tide's going in, it's perfect. Let's leave it at that. Port Macquarie here is very calm. I have been in here before when the tide was still running out, and the entrance was a bit surprising. It was like a washing machine and you could feel the boat getting pushed around, and that was in calm conditions. So I always respect the bars. It's not a shallow sandbar, and it's that bar is mostly over to the south there, but so it doesn't really seem to affect you as much as others might. But I'm just coming in here on a sector light. So the idea of the sector light is that the white light means that you're on the correct path coming into the entrance. If you see red, then you're too far to the left, which means you have to steer to starboard. And if you see green, you're too far to the right or to the starboard, so you have to steer port. On the breakwater at Port Macquarie, calm as. Toucan is down there. The water I've been making with my desalinator has been tasting a bit different, so I decided to pull the floors up and clean the tank out. Now this is the infamous tank that I lined with some tarry sort of material, and when I initially bought the boat, it had been seriously affected by chlorinated water in a what was just an aluminium tank, and it had rotted right through the bottom of the boat. So I had it pulled out, and we applied 5 new skins from the outside, put this VersiSeal on the inside, and it was all right. But I can see the VersiSeal has been penetrated because there's some reaction there already. And I'm just hoping that my tainted water at the moment isn't from the outside seawater. So, because when we did the patch, when we initially filled it with water and there was no sealing compound or no fairing compound on the outside, it leaked in a few spots, and you hit it again with the welder, and then we faired it with that fiberglass type fairing material. And I thought that would have done it, plus with the VersiSeal on the inside. But if we're getting salt in it from the outside, we're going to have to come up with another plan. But my whole plan for this is to put a bladder on the inside. So I'll cut all those baffles. I'll cut those baffles out, and I'll put a rubber bladder in there. And also there's another tank up the front there under those boards, and I'll use that as a water tank as well, because when I put a bladder in, I just won't get as much water in there. But I think that's the solution, but not yet. Today I just emptied it as it was going down, put in a bit of bleach and just sloshed that around a bit, and then sucked it out, and then bailed it with a little bailer, and then it was a rag just to get the last bits out, get the pressure washer onto it, and then do a couple of rounds of that, and then it's all back to square one. Now I'm just going to fill it up and close it all up and see if it makes a difference. Hopefully it will. It's nothing better than good H2O. This is the passage from Port Macquarie down to Port Stephens, overnight passage. The wind's gone southeasterly to easterly only about 3 hours ago. I thought it was going to do it earlier, which made me have to motor. I motored for 10 hours, motor sailed. That's what you get though. But it's good because I've got a new crew member, Stewart Webb, who was in a few episodes back. He's the man that sailed his Warham 21 up the coast, and he's gonna come and crew with me. I'm gonna meet him in Pittwater, the next stop after Port Stephens, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I just go outside and have a bit of a look. We're sort of going along alright. We've got the full main up, and just probably 2/3 of the head sail. Just ghosting along. Brownton Island is just there. We're about 10 mile out of Port Stephens, doing about 5 knots. Good. So I'll have a sleep in Port Stephens in Jimmy's Beach, and then wake up and have another look at the weather. It's a bit mixed, but we've got to get down 68 miles to Pittwater, and when I leave I'll give Stewart a call and he'll drive down from, I think it's Tenterfield, and he's going to leave his car in Pittwater at his brother's, and then we're going to jump on. We have got the most exciting window. It sort of starts on Wednesday, but it doesn't really kick in until a few days later, so I reckon we'll just about get all the way to Eden, if not around the corner to home. So really excited, and just to be able to sail with someone else that's doing the watch. I can go and have a sleep, he can go and have a sleep, you can be refreshed, and you can enjoy the actual sailing part rather than I'm tired now, so I'm sort of longing to get to Port Stephens so I can have a sleep. And that's the downside of solo sailing. There's a few other downsides, and there's a few other good sides too, so that's what you get with everything, I think. Anyway, catch ya. Out of Port Stephens, 6 a.m, giving a call to the Port Stephens Marine Rescue to say and log me on, which is what I did yesterday as well. And out the friendly heads of Port Stephens, have a look at them. It's blowing about a 15 knot northerly, which is going to increase to 20 to 25. It seems like everyone else got the same idea, because there's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boats on their way. So in the distance there, you can see there's a green sector light, and that's telling me I need to get over to the right a little bit more, because I'm on the green going out. It's an awesome bay to come in and out of. So I'm just going to leave it at that, and hopefully get a beautiful sail down to Pittwater where I meet Stewart on. You'll either come early or you'll come on Wednesday when the next window comes. Yeah, I love Port Stephens. It's easily accessible by day and night, and good shelter. And this is the end of episode 32, part 1. Part 2 is the rest of the way down to Lake's Entrance. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Subscribe if you can, and hit the like button. Thanks a lot. See you later.